back here with you at High Noon Leatherworks for another leather adventure. And today we're going to do a new project, and we're going to do a storage pouch for sharp circular saw blades. So instead of taking these off, changing them, throwing them in your toolbox or the back of your truck or whatever, where all these points can grab something, tear something up, even yourself, we're going to make us a protective pouch that are not only going to protect the blades, but are also going to protect you. So come on in and let's get started. Alright, I've got a couple of pieces of leather here. It's 6 ounce, right around 6 ounce, 8 ounce. And I cut it 10 by 10 on the front piece, and then all I did was take a quarter and draw around the quarter and rounded these edges off at the bottom. This piece, the top piece, or actually I guess this would be the back piece, is 10 by 12. So it's 2 inches longer, and the reason I did that was I wanted to be able to have a closure on it and put a couple of snaps in here. That way I could snap it and it would conceal those circular saw blades and those teeth to where nobody's going to get punctured or hurt on those. So I did a 10 by 10, rounded the 2 bottom corners with a quarter. I did a 10 by 12, rounded the bottom 2 corners with a quarter to match the front piece. Then I took a core of a tape roll and used it to round the top 2 corners for my flap. Then I drew me a line on that, and I believe that was at 2 inches. So I drew a line across here, folded that over backwards on that line, and then all I did was take my utility knife and skived all that top layer off on this back side. And I just take it real slow, and I took all that top layer off. Now this closes a lot easier than trying to fold that over without taking any of that out. It just makes a real nice fold line, so it's going to fold exactly the same every time. So that's how I prepped my pieces. Now what I need to do is go ahead and mark my holes, because I'm going to do rivets all the way around. I'm not going to stitch this. That'd be an awful lot of stitching for something kind of utilitarian, so I don't want to put that much time into it. But you could make these, you could sell these. There's a lot of guys that would like to have something, or gals, to save these blades or put them in to carry them around, especially if you have some cross-cut blades, some fine-tooth blades for trim or whatever, so you got multiple blades. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my leather scribe tool here, and I am going to mark this approximately 1/4 inch away from the edge for my rivets. So I'm going to start out a 1/4 inch from the top, 1/4 inch from the side, and then I'm going to go, I think I'm going to go every inch. and mark that. I think that would be sufficient. For what it is. It's not going to have any small items in it. So obviously if it was a pouch we were putting some smaller items in, we might want to go closer with those holes. As I come around the corner there, I still want to keep it approximately an inch apart, and then I can just move around to the bottom and then continue marking those. This is one of those projects you'll use several rivets, so you want to make sure you have plenty of rivets on hand before you get started. With this material I am using 5/16 rivets, and again I'll come around the corner here and continue down the other side, marking that approximately a 1/4 inch from the edge, and then every inch. And all I'm doing is taking the scribe and putting a little tiny divot in that leather as I mark each inch. So there's my marks on the outside piece. Now I'll go ahead and take my punch, and I want to double check. I want to make sure I use the correct size punch for my rivets. So I'll double check the size here. That is the one I want to use. I'm going to clean my punch out. It's still got some leather in it from the last time I used it. So I'll clean it out. And then I can use my poly cutting board and go ahead and start punching my holes. Now, where I mark those holes, I'm going to go right in the center of that hole. And then I'll work my way down each one of those holes. And again, these are an inch apart, and for something that large that I'm going to store in this or carry in this, an inch I think will be plenty sufficient in order to hold this together completely and also hold the contents of the blades. So I've been using these inexpensive poly cutting boards now for probably a year or so to do most of my punching on, and I really like them. They don't seem to dull my tools at all, and they work really well. And the nice thing about them is you can find them at dollar stores or something like that Very, very inexpensive. So don't have to spend a lot of money to get a tool that you can use for this leather work. So I'll throw away some of my pieces, my punched pieces that came out, get those out of my way. There's the first piece that's punched all the way around. Now, the only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, line it up, move my polyboard out of the way, and I'm going to line this up to where it's perfectly in a line with the back side. And then I'll just take a Sharpie as I hold it down so it doesn't move, and just stick it through that hole, and I can go around very quickly and mark my other piece. And the reason I don't normally punch through both pieces at the same time is sometimes it's hard to keep it where it doesn't move at all, and then also makes it tougher to remove your punch. So I can remove that. You can see all of my markings that I transferred through from the other piece that I've already punched. Now I can punch this one from the back side. And then that way all my holes are going to line up. I just punch it right in the center of that black Sharpie mark, and work my way down. And then around, I'll turn it. I'm going to clean out my punch real quick. It's getting pretty full. A nice clean punch works much more efficiently than one that's filling up. And you can tell when it starts filling up, it starts not wanting to punch as easily. But you can see I'll take my stylus, clean that out, and get those pieces out of that punch. And then as I turn and start down the last side here, you can see how much quicker and easier the punch performs. So it's just a matter of stopping every once in a while, cleaning those out, so there's all of my punched holes on both pieces. Now I can go ahead and put those pieces together, and I'm gonna just make sure that they're even. I've got both sides punched. Pull out some of my 5/16 rivets and caps. Get my setter and my anvil, and I'll start in the top right, put my rivet through. At this point, that would be the back side. It'll be take a cap, Take my setter, and there's my first rivet set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all 4 corners first, so I can make sure I have those nice and square. So I'll just keep turning it 90 degrees, put in a rivet, put in a cap, put it on the anvil, and then go ahead and smash it down with the tool. And again, these are 5/16 rivets, and they work really well with this 6 to 8 ounce material. I do also carry 3/8 rivets for thicker material, but you could see, if I put this in the palm of my hand, hopefully you could tell the difference side by side of the height. So I definitely don't want to get those mixed up, so I keep them totally separate in one of these organizing containers. Now I'm ready to go ahead and just start back at the second hole, and I can go ahead and put my rivets in and just work my way around the leather piece. So I'll continue doing this, and then I'll be back when I get finished. Okay, so as you can see, I reached in there several times and pulled out more rivets, and as you can see on here, it took several 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Took 28 rivets to go on 3 sides. But the nice thing about that is it's a lot quicker than stitching. And when you're working with something sharp on that you're putting in these pouches or holsters, then it's not going to cut these rivets like it would if you sewed it with thread, stitched it with thread. So that's the nice thing about that. It makes it real nice and strong for blades. Here's the other side. So right now we've got a real nice strong pouch. Now we're just ready to put our snaps in here. So I want to measure this and make sure that my snaps are going to be nice and symmetrical. We're talking 10 inches wide, and I want to put 2 snaps. So we'll go 2 inches in on each side. and I'm going to put them approximately 5/8 of an inch from the lip. So I'll double check that, make sure that they're both the same, and then I can go ahead and double check. I'm going to use silver to match the rivets, so I'll get out 2 flat pieces, 2 caps, and then 2 male snaps and 2 female pieces. Now, with this weight of material, you're only going through, for example, when you do the snap itself, you're only going through this 6 to 8 ounce material. Well, these snaps that I have are made for thicker leather, so they've got a pretty good size post on them. Now, can I smash that down? Yeah, probably, but I can also take some of this off of here before I go ahead and insert those and mash them down. So first thing I'm going to do is punch my holes, get that taken care of. Make sure I have nice clean holes for these. Then I'm going to double check and make sure that it does fit through there okay, and they fit through there just fine. Then I'm going to flip that over and I'm going to put that female piece on there, and I think I'm going to go ahead and try it and see how this works without grinding any of that off of there. Now I'll need to get my setter for my snaps. And I'm going to go ahead and try that. And it does mash down pretty well, but then it's still a little loose. And that has to do with the thickness of the leather. So I'm going to work that around and see how well that works. Might have to again work on that as I put that through, and I kind of rotate my setter a little bit. So as I mash that down, I'm rotating my setting tool to get that edge to mash that down real good, and that makes them real nice and tight. So we'll see how that works. Now on this other piece, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this over, and all I'm going to do is tap real lightly on that with it folded over on those buttons so that I can see exactly where the indentation is, where it will snap. Then I know exactly where to punch my hole on the other side. Now I want to make sure that I insert my poly board in there because I don't want to punch through both sides. So I'll find the center of that mark. Punch that side. Move my poly board to the other corner. Find the center of that mark. And punch through that side. Now I can take my snap stud and go through the inside and push it up through the hole. I could put my anvil on the flat side now, behind that, and that's going to support that as I put in the male snap on this side. And again, as I hit it, once I smash it down, I'll rotate my setter, and that flattens that out and make it nice and tight. And the worst case scenario is if I have one pull out or whatever, then I would have to go back, and what I'd probably do is grind off just a little bit of that and make it a little shorter. But I think it's going to be okay. We'll test it out here in a second. They seem nice and tight. So there's the male portion, female portion's up here. There's my finished snap. So we'll just fold that over. They snap just fine. That's going to hold that closed. Let's see what happens when we go to unsnap it. It worked great. So no problems with it wanting to pull out or anything. So let's see, I made it big enough to where when I bought new blades, or if someone had new blades still in the package, that they'd fit in this pouch also. Or if they were open, they would fit in the pouch. So you could probably fit, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 blades in here easily that were not in the plastic or the cardboard that they come in. So I would say you could probably fit 2 to 3 brand new blades easily that are still in the cardboard, shrink wrapped. That's the way they normally come. Fold it over, snap it. You got a nice carrying case. Protect everything, protect you, protect your blades, everything in your truck or your toolbox. So just another quick, easy project you can do. You could probably think of somebody right offhand that could use one of these. Alright, so there's the finished product. We'll pop open the snaps for the closure, and inside we've got our circular saw blade or blades, depending on how many you want to store in there. It snaps really easy. It looks nice, and I think the silver rivets give it a nice little touch. Again, if you have blades in there that aren't shrink wrapped or in cardboard, then you're not going to cut through these rivets putting your blades in and out. So just another handy storage solution using scrap leather. I just had that leather laying around, so left over from other projects. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please come back next week and we'll be doing a new project. I believe we're going to get into a really neat, different kind of holster. So I'd like for you to come back and check that out. So as I always say, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.